Welcome back for another 5 change challenge here on the channel. Now, as FM22 starts to wind down here in the cycle, I think this could be a way to maybe have a little bit more fun with the game while you wait for the beta to come out. So let's see how you can do just making 5 changes to a tactic. So that's the rules, right? Where I'm going to give you a tactic that you need to start with, which is going to be a default tactic from the Football Manager 22 tactics engine, and then you get to make 5 changes. That's it. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to kind of explain to you what the tactic is, and then we'll end up taking a look at some of the results from that base tactic. Then I will explain to you my 5 changes, and then take a look at some of those results as well. And then I encourage you, as always, to download the tactic testing database from the Total Tactics Discord. There is a link in the description below to join. It's a simple save game file that you download and play. You manage as 4 different teams, all versions of Napoli in 4 different custom leagues, and you just give your tactic a spin by assigning it to each manager of each of those 4 teams and simulate an entire season. And you'll see that when we get to the results, exactly how that works. But this week, we are going to focus on the 442, and you will have seen that in the thumbnail again. And this is a shape that a lot of people have a lot of very emotional feelings towards this shape, and it's something that I haven't played around with very much. Now, there is a 442 tactic on the Total Tactics area of the channel as well, and it's one that I just am not great at yet. And so hopefully this 5 change challenge will maybe let me try out 1 or 2 things here on how I can improve the base 442 and try to get a little bit more success out of it in the tester. So let's take a look at this original base tactic before looking at some of my changes. All right, so let's go through some of the instructions that you'll need to follow to correctly set up your 442 test, and then talk a little bit about the tactics. So don't create your own style. Instead, I want you to click on Wing Play. And then once you're on Wing Play, go to choose a formation. Make sure you've got that 442 highlighted. This is the one, and then hit confirm. So this is the tactic. This is the base tactic that you are supposed to use to run your test. Now you can see that I've got some players put into the positions. If you would like to use the same players that I'm using, this is a good place to start. One that you might want to consider is playing Kostic instead of Politano here on this left wing position, depending on what you do with the position. Of course, you might not leave it as a winger, but Kostic is very good and one of the higher rated players that you can have in this role, so it's a change that I recommend that you might decide to make when you're making your tactics. Just try to make sure you're using close to, if not the same lineup between both tests. But let's take a quick look at how the results stacked up here from this baseline 442 wing play tactic. All right, so these are the results of the base version of the tactic, the stock FM22 version of the wing play 442. So when you're looking at these tables, we're looking to beat Napoli with 6 wins, 5 draws, 25 losses, and a negative 46 goal difference to the tune of just 23 points, finishing bottom of the table. So that's the first benchmark you're trying to beat. In the Balance League, a slightly better performance. We've got a Napoli team finishing in 6th with 13 wins, 9 draws, 14 losses, negative 1 for 48 points. So that is another very beatable benchmark here in the Balance League. In the Average League, the team got sacked. So if you keep your job, you're probably doing better than the tactic here the 442 did. 10 wins, 9 draws, and 17 losses, negative 17 goal difference, and 39 points. So again, this is a team that got sacked. It is a bug in our version of the database that a sacking is possible, but we'll see if we can keep our job here with my 5 changes. And then finally, in the Balance League, we'll give you a close-up here on the league table. Napoli won the Balance League with 80 points, 24 wins, 8 draws, at 4 losses and 40 goals against. Now, the tactic only scored 65. If we go through and look at the other divisions, you'll see that is kind of an issue with the tactic. This team only scored 37 goals in the average league. In the balance league, with that mid-table finish, was only able to manage 44 goals, and then in the elite league was only able to manage 41 goals scored. So it does seem like scoring is maybe something that's going wrong in this tactic. So something we'll look to improve upon as we take a look at my 5 changes. So let's take a look at those now. All right, let's walk you through my 5 changes to the tactic and then maybe talk about some of the options that you might be able to explore in your version of this 5 change challenge. So, the first thing that I've done here is I've changed the box to box midfielder role held by Zelensky to a CM attack to get a little bit more push. And the other thing that I also did position wise was change Muriel to an advanced forward. So, double advanced forward, CM attack as a way to try to push the lines here and get some more goals out of this shape. Now, to go with those 2 changes, I've made 2 instruction changes as well. So the first instruction change that I've made is to go from to shorter passing. So slightly more direct is the default setup, and I've gone down to shorter passing. And then the final 2 changes that I made was changing these lines to higher. I believe they begin at standard and lower, maybe even, or standard and standard. But those are both possibilities that you have to try and play around with here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead in and look one more time at the wing play 4-4-2 tactic and confirm here. And you can see again, DLF switched to AF attack. The CM has changed. I have then made this slightly more direct down to lower, and I've switched the lower line of engagement to higher and the standard defensive line to higher. And there is no other changes that I have made to the tactic or to the player instructions. So player instructions are something that you might not want to waste one of your 5 changes on player instruction, but some things that you maybe could try. You could try hit early crosses. You could try to get your team to play out of the defense a little bit more. You could try to change up the crossing directness. Like, these are all things. You could maybe extremely wide width might be a little bit too much. You know, you could turn on that counter press button. There are a lot of options to go for here with your 5 changes, including, say, the defensive shape lines as well. So I hope that you have fun with it and you're able to come up with some changes that work for you. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all come up with as well. So let's take a look at the results that I was able to get with the changes that I made to the tactic. Okay, let's take a look at these results. Right away, you can see I got Napoli off the bottom of the table, but not just in just barely. Like, I know it looks just barely because of 8th place, but the point differential is massive. So the original tactic had 23 points, whereas the version of the changes that I've made has almost doubled that total up to all the way to 45 and only a -8 goal difference. We've also improved the goal scoring output here to 55, which is a decent number in the Elite League, especially if it's a tactic that is finishing in the bottom half. So 13 wins, 6 draws, 17 losses, and a good start, right? The Elite League is going to be a hard place to improve, especially with the 4-4-2 shape, if you've seen my track record with this tactic in the past, for sure. All right, so let's take a look at the Balanced League. The Balanced League, again, remember, is coming off a 48-point performance that finished in 5th or 6th place. I can't quite remember. But we've boosted that total all the way to 60 with the changes. Now, the 48-point performance did have a -1 goal difference, which we've turned around to a positive 21 goals to the good. So 63 goals scored, only 42 conceded, which is a strong defensive performance by the tactic here. And 17 wins, 9 draws, 10 losses, which this tactic had a losing record before and now has turned it around with a winning record to a 5th place finish and basically just outside the top 3, only 6 points behind Real Madrid in 3rd place. The average league is where we started to see yet even more improvement. So we saw a dismal 39 point performance in the average league the first time around for the base tactic, and fourth place for Napoli here in the restart with 57 points. So a big turnaround from 39, a nice 18-point jump. Positive goal difference is up from the negative 17 in the division the first time around, and 17 wins, 6 draws, 13 losses. A good performance by the 442 here in the average teams league. And in the underdogs teams league is where we also still found a way to make an improvement. 80 points in the balance in the underdog league with the base tactic isn't too bad. Like, it's not amazing, but it is an okay result. If I had great results in the other divisions, 80 points in the underdogs team wouldn't really bother me at all. But 85 is much closer to that threshold where I think a tactic has done very well in the underdog league, which I think is in the 86 to 88 point range, cracking 90s. That's when you know you've got a tactic that dominates the underdogs. But 85 is a no small feat, and it's done so with 83 goals scored and only 25 allowed. The plus 58 goal difference is a big improvement over the plus 40. So while it's only a 5-point difference, it is a plus 18 goal differential as well. So I do think we have done well here with the underdog league tactic as well. So if we go back to the tactic one last time, we take a look at in the balance league, this nice mid-table finish. Where did the stats come from in this tactic? And they came through Insigne. This winger attack predictably put up 24 points, although, and yes, we are using this version of it. This winger Insigne rolled 24 assists. Luis Muriel is getting assisted by Insigne and maybe a little bit by Zielinski through the middle as well, making sure that Muriel could score 25 goals. Osimhen chipped in with another 17 and 6 assists as well. And Filip Kostic did not play all of that well. I actually think Politano in the other tests played better. So, it's hard to tell which of this left midfielders you want to use, but overall, I'm really happy with the tactic. It's using default FM set pieces. So, if you added your own set pieces in, if you started playing with a 4-4-2, you might see even better results as well than this. But just remember, do your best. Post your results and share them in the Discord. There's a section of the Discord dedicated to the 5 Change Challenge, and I'd love to hear what you're able to do in the comments below or getting involved in posting in that Discord. So you can join that Discord. Again, the link is in the description. That's where you can also download the save a game file for the tactics testing database if you haven't used it before. We'd love to have you. Lots of changes coming up for FM23 to both the channel and to the tester, and I'm excited to share those with you in future videos. So good luck with your 5 changes. I hope you're able to bury my result and really show what you're able to do as tactics creators with your 5 changes. Good luck, and I will see you around.